Good evening, dear listener. Before we begin tonight's tale, I invite you to find a comfortable place. Let your shoulders drop, unclench your jaw, and allow your breath to move in and out, slowly and naturally. You are safe. You are warm. You are ready for a story that will carry you gently into sleep. Tonight, we return to a familiar tale. A story told across many lands in many ways. But tonight, we will tell it as softly as the sound of falling rain. This is the story of Cinderella, but told in whispers, in calm reflections, in a way that will guide you into peaceful dreams. Once, upon a time in a quiet countryside, there lived a young girl. Her name was Cinderella. Her house stood at the edge of a wide meadow, where tall grasses swayed gently in the wind. Each morning, the sky above her home shifted from pale gray to soft gold as the sun rose, and birds sang the first notes of the day. Cinderella's mornings began early. She would sweep the wide stone steps, her broom brushing softly across the ground. She carried buckets of water from the well, listening to the creak of the handle and the slow ripple of water settling inside. She cared for the fire, placing logs carefully so the flames would rise without smoke. Warming the kitchen with a gentle glow, her stepmother and stepsisters often gave her many tasks. But Cinderella moved quietly, without complaint. She found peace in small things, the sparkle of sunlight on a clean glass, the scent of fresh bread baking, the way dust floated in the morning air like tiny stars at twilight. When her chores slowed, Cinderella would sometimes step outside. The fields beyond the house were wide and calm. The wind carried the scent of lavender and earth. Far away, she could see the soft line of hills, their shapes fading into the evening haze. Above, the first stars appeared tiny points of light, steady and still. In those quiet moments, Cinderella would close her eyes and breathe. She would imagine a world where kindness flowed freely, where laughter was gentle, and where life was filled with peace. Though her days were often filled with labor, her heart carried a secret strength, hope. One afternoon, as the air grew heavy with summer warmth, a knock came at the door. A royal messenger stood outside, his cloak lined with the colors of the palace. He held a scroll sealed with golden wax. The stepmother broke the seal and read aloud. The king and queen invited all to attend a ball at the palace. Music, dancing, and lantern light would fill the great hall. The stepsisters clapped their hands, their laughter sharp and eager. They dreamed of gowns made of silk, of ribbons woven through their hair, of jewels glittering under candlelight. Cinderella listened quietly, her heart stirring with gentle longing. When she asked if she too might go, her stepmother shook her head. No, Cinderella, you must stay home. There is too much to do. And so, while her sisters prepared, Cinderella sewed, pressed, and laced their dresses, her fingers careful and steady. She adjusted their jewelry, combed their hair, and wished them well. When the evening arrived, the carriage rolled away. The sound of wheels and hooves faded into the distance, leaving the house in silence. Cinderella sat alone by the fire. The flames danced slowly, casting shadows that swayed along the walls. The only sound was the quiet crackle of burning wood. Like soft whispers in the still air, she folded her hands and let her thoughts wander. Her chest rose and fell in a calm rhythm. Though she felt sadness, she also felt the deep quiet of the night. Then, something extraordinary happened. The room filled with a light that shimmered like moonbeams on water. A gentle figure appeared, her fairy godmother. Her voice was as soft as a lullaby. "Dear child, why do you sit here in sorrow?" Cinderella lifted her gaze. "I cannot go to the ball. I have no gown, no carriage, no shoes for such a night." The fairy godmother smiled. "Do not worry. Tonight you shall go. Tonight your heart will rest among music and light." With a wave of her wand, the old wooden room transformed. Her dress shimmered, threads weaving themselves into fabric as smooth as silk. Pale blue and silver, glowing like a quiet river beneath. The stars. Her feet were lifted into glass slippers, cool and delicate, shining faintly like morning dew. Outside, pumpkins stretched and shifted, becoming a golden carriage. Mice turned into horses, their coats gleaming under starlight. The fairy godmother touched Cinderella's shoulder. "Go, dear child, enjoy the evening. But remember, when the clock strikes 12, the magic will fade." Cinderella bowed her head softly. "Thank you," she whispered. The palace rose high against the night sky. Its towers lit with lanterns that glowed like stars brought down to earth. The gardens were alive with the scent of roses and jasmine. Music floated from open windows, violins, harps and flutes blending in a song both lively and tender. Inside, chandeliers hung like constellations, their crystals scattering soft light across the marble floors. Guests moved in graceful patterns, their laughter gentle, their voices blending with the music like waves against a shore. When Cinderella entered, the room grew still. Not because she commanded attention with noise or grandeur, but because her presence was calm, like a quiet dawn after a storm. The prince saw her and felt something rare peace. He stepped forward slowly, bowed and asked, "May I have this dance?" Her voice was a whisper. Yes. They danced, not with hurried steps, but with movements smooth and slow. It felt like floating, like drifting downstream on a gentle current. Around them, the hall shimmered with candlelight, yet within their circle, there was only stillness. Time moved gently, unnoticed, until the great clock began to strike. 1, 2, 3.
8.
The sound echoed through the hall. When it reached 12, Cinderella remembered the fairy godmother's words. She bowed to the prince, turned, and hurried away, her slippers tapping softly on the marble stairs. One glass slipper slipped from her foot and rested quietly on the step, shining in the moonlight. But she did not stop. She reached the carriage, which carried her swiftly back into the night. At the final stroke, the magic faded. Her gown returned to its simple form, her carriage to a pumpkin, her horses to mice. Yet in her heart, she carried the memory of the dance as soft and bright as a dream. The next morning, sunlight spilled across the kingdom. The prince, holding the glass slipper, began his search. He traveled from home to home, village to village. Everywhere he went, he carried patience, moving calmly, steadily. At last he came to Cinderella's home. Her stepsisters tried eagerly, but the slipper did not fit. Then, softly, Cinderella was invited to try. She slipped her foot into the glass. Shoo! And it fit as though it had always been meant for her. The prince looked at her, and in that quiet moment he knew. Not because of the slipper, but because of the peace he felt. The same peace he had known when they danced. From that day forward, Cinderella's life changed. But it did not change into noise or endless ceremony. It changed into calm, steady. She and the prince walked through the palace gardens, where fountains murmured gently and flowers opened slowly in the morning light. They sat together in the evenings, sometimes speaking, sometimes silent, always content. At night, they watched the stars, breathing in the stillness. Knowing that peace itself was the truest treasure, Cinderella found herself not only a princess, but a giver of kindness. She listened to others, offered comfort, and carried a quiet, strength that touched all around her. And always, she remembered those evenings when she had stood alone at the window, dreaming of peace. Now, those dreams had become her life. And so, dear listener, the story draws to its gentle close. You have walked with Cinderella from her quiet home to the glowing palace, and back to the peaceful gardens where love and calm awaited her. You have felt the warmth of firelight, the hush of midnight, the soft rhythm of a dance. Now, let this story rest inside you. Breathe in and let go. Let your body grow heavier. Safe. You are calm. You are ready for sleep. Close your eyes, dear one, and let the quiet magic of dreams carry you away. Good night, and sweet, gentle dreams.